look who we got. We got Miss Calavito and we've got Mrs. Zahn. We've got our fourth grade teachers with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So I'm so happy that you guys agreed to do this with us. So before we get going, I always ask the same question every single time. I'm a broken record. So before we begin, Mrs. Zahn, how are you doing? How's your family doing?
We're doing great. We're all safe. I want to mention before that the kids, my class stopped by today, and I can't thank all of you enough. Here's some of your signs. I didn't have a chance to hang them all up yet because I ran out of tape, but I was very thrilled, and I can't thank you enough.
How many of them are there?
But as far as my family goes, we're fine. We're all, working from home, obviously. And I'm helping my daughter with her college work. So that's extremely interesting because, I have trouble with some fourth grade work. So college work's even harder. But we're getting through it.
Great. And Mrs. Scalavino, how are you and your family doing?
We're doing well. Dominica is expecting in July 9th. So we're a little concerned about her, but she's staying home with Charlotte and doing well. And I pray for my son-in-law, who's an officer in New York City. So he's out there every night doing his job. But overall, we're doing great. Thank you. And your family, Mr. Tamney?
Mr. Tamney's family is doing just fine. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Okay. So we've got a lot of things. We're all going to send our prayers out to Dominica and keep you guys in our prayers. And we're going to do that for everybody and all those people out there who are out there on the front lines, taking care of us and trying to keep us safe. Okay, we're going to get started. So I asked your class parents to send me a bunch of questions that came from the fourth graders, and my goodness, did I get a lot of questions. So before we begin, I just got to let everyone know, there's no way I can get to all these questions. There is no way this would be we would have to do a 3-part mini-series if I was able to do this. So I'm going to do the best I can about putting as many questions, kind of squish them together and see if we can get them. But I just want to tell you fourth graders, oh my gosh, you guys did a great job. Okay, so we're going to start first with the teacher questions. And by that, I mean, both sets of classes ask questions about teachers. So I'm going to turn. So the first question they said is, what's your favorite part of being a teacher? What do you like most about being a teacher? Okay. Mrs. Scalavino.
Yeah.
So the best part of being a teacher is being with children, of course, but when we're teaching or when I'm teaching and there's that aha moment when a student has got something, that is most rewarding for me. That's the best part of being a teacher.
What do you mean they got something? They got something out of their desk like, I got something. Is that what you mean?
An aha moment.
Aha moment.
Aha moment.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was like, okay. That's different. Good. How about you, Mrs. Zahn?
I absolutely love reading the stories that the children write. They're just so creative and interesting, and I could sit and read the stories all night, which I do many nights. Yep.
Okay, so within this same thing, so what made both of you decide you wanted to become teachers is a big question. So Mrs. Zahn, we'll start with you. What made you decide you wanted to become a teacher?
When I was little, like most teachers, I would, hang out with my sister, and we were teachers. And I just always, and when I got older, I really enjoyed being around children and working with them. And I worked at a lot of, I was a camp counselor for many years, and I enjoyed that. So when I went to college, I decided to go into teaching.
Fabulous. And Mrs. Scalavino, how about you?
I had a sister, Margaret, in high school. She was my math teacher. And Sister Margaret was a wonderful, wonderful teacher. And after her class, I said to myself, I think I want to be a teacher. Once I finished high school and went to college, that's exactly what I did. Became a teacher.
Fabulous. All right, so sticking with that, I thought this question was very funny, so I'll just add this in. So here's the question. They want to know, why do you give homework? I don't give homework.
Who would have asked that question? Probably all of them, right? Okay, Mrs. Scott Olivino, why do we give homework?
The reason for homework is not to make your lives miserable and not to make your parents' lives miserable, but to reinforce what we've taught during the day.
But if it makes your life miserable, tough.
True.
So let's go on to the pet section of today's questions. So, Mrs. Scalavino, I know you have a dog named Holly because somebody said, can Miss Scalavino tell us how old Holly is?
Oh, Holly is 9 years old, 9 and 8 months old. She's almost 10 years old. And she actually had surgery on Monday. So she's walking around with the cone of shame.
Okay, and
I'm actually in the dog's room. You could see her crate right there.
Oh.
it actually looked like a crib to me because, you know,
Crib.
I think your dogs were raised better than I was. Certainly better than my daughter was.
Oh, no. Erin was wonderful.
Yeah, but I didn't have anything as nice as that for her when she was young. All right, same question to you, Mrs. Zahn. I know that you have a number of puppies, so tell us about your dogs.
Well, I have a 3-year-old dog and a 7-year-old dog, and we had a little problem the other day because my husband and daughter were rollerblading and having the dogs pull them. And next thing you know, another dog got involved and there was falling and screaming and barking and wrapping around my husband, and now he can't use his right arm and my daughter's knee's banged up. So the moral of the story is, if you're in your if you're middle-aged, don't go on rollerblades and have your dog pull you. So the older dog that really hurt my husband is really in the doghouse big time.
You've got a dog in the doghouse. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, figuratively speech.
It sounds to me like you put your husband in the doghouse the way you're talking.
Oh, it's bad.
We are going on to the next thing. There's a lot of questions about favorites. So I've got a long list of favorites. So I'm going to try to keep these short and simple, okay?
Okay.
All right. So they want to know your favorite food, Mrs. Scalavino.
Eggplant Parmesan.
Mrs. Zahn?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Just pizza, yeah.
There you go. All right, so then I can extend that. They also want to know your restaurant. If you're going out to a restaurant, do you have a favorite restaurant, Mrs. Zahn?
Chili's.
Chili's. Oh, we have a restaurant in Port Jeff called Pasta. That's our favorite restaurant.
All right, so both of you guys have bounced up and down the grade levels. So they would like to know, other than 4th grade, what was your favorite grade to teach? Because if I ask that, you'd both say, oh, 4th grade. No. I'm not doing that. So of all the grades you've taught, other than 4th grade, what's your favorite?
I liked 5th grade because the children are a little bit older and you can have a little bit more in-depth conversation with them. But 5th grade's a lot of fun.
I got you. So you hate little children. All right.
No,
So we're done. Mrs. Zahn, you're up. Go ahead.
We're done, right? Actually, when I started teaching many years ago, I would loop 3rd, 4th grade, and I really enjoyed 3rd grade because I was getting them ready for the 4th grade. So it was nice.
I got it. So you prefer 3rd graders over 4th graders. I got you. Fabulous. Okay, here we go.
You're putting words in my mouth.
Listen. This is my video. I get to do what I like. Okay, sticking with that. So then they like to know, what's your favorite thing to do besides rollerblade with your dogs?
I just like walking around the neighborhood. Very basic. I really like to go to the mall, but you know, we can't do that now. So hopefully this summer I could go shopping at the mall.
And Mrs. Scalavino?
I like walking as well, but many of my students know that I enjoy crocheting, so I do a lot of crocheting. I love to read, but unfortunately, school work has prevented me from enjoying some reading. But I do have a couple of books waiting for me to read, but maybe in June.
All right, so the next one has to do with your family and growing up. So the question is, can you share a story or stories about the funny things your kids used to do when they were growing up, Mrs. Scalavino?
Wow.
And I know all your kids, so I'll know these stories.
My kids, that's right. Elizabeth would cut her bangs with a scissor. She'd cut her bangs. My son sometimes would argue with his sisters, and I would always say to him, your sisters are going to be the best, your best friends when you grow up. And surely that's what happened. They're best friends now. And Dominica, we have a couple of them.
Sorry, Dominica. It turns out this is going to be all about you.
No, I'll just tell you one about Dominica. When she was younger, she, after dinner, we'd brush our teeth, we'd go to bed and read, and that would be it. But she wanted potato chips. And no more, we're not eating anymore. Dinner's over, you're in your pajamas. And then Elizabeth comes running. At the time, the girls were sharing the room, and Elizabeth comes running in and says, "Mommy, I hear crunching." So Dominica grabbed potato chips under her blanket, was eating her chips.
She would eat her chips in bed.
In bed at night.
After everybody went to bed, she'd sneak back out?
Yep.
That's good. All right. Now, of course, I know both your children as well, Mrs. Zahn. I taught both of your children.
Yes,
so
yes.
tell me some good stories.
Zachary would, blame his little sister for anything that would happen because they're 5 years apart, so that would happen all the time. And one thing I remember about Lindsay when she was young, whenever we went anywhere, she would always leave something and we'd have to go back and get it. I remember she had this little Game Boy or something. I don't remember if that's what they were called back then. And she'd leave it in the Kohl's shopping cart. She'd leave it at the park, and I'd had to keep going back and getting it. And we were at American Girl doll store once, and she got this, the dog is probably was $30, this little stuffed animal. And she left it at 3 different places when we were in the city. And we'd have to go back and get it. So, I don't know where the dog is now, but I do remember that vividly because, she's bawling, "I want my dog." I think the dog's name was Sprocket. And we had to go back, to far away where it was to find the dog.
They want to know when you were children, what were your favorite games to play when you were children? So I've got a couple of game questions, but we'll ask that one.
Favorite game? Let's see. We enjoyed playing Monopoly and Scrabble. Monopoly.
How about you, Mrs. Zahn?
Clue and Risk. I loved Risk with all the different countries and now that whole map, as you know, as a social studies teacher, has totally changed.
Is it different now?
Well, you know what I mean.
I do know exactly. In 100%.
You should bring an old Risk game and show your students. Yeah, it's amazing.
I know. It's a constantly changing map these days. Okay, so here's your final question, ladies. And I saved this one for last because I thought it was a really good question. All the questions have been great today, but I'd like to finish up with this one. So this question is, when all this is over, when we no longer are restricted in any way, shape, or form, when there's no more restrictions, what's the first thing that you are gonna do? Mrs. Zahn.
go out and have a nice, juicy hamburger at Chili's.
If you would have said a nice juicy pizza at Chili's, I would have thought that brought it all together. But I got you.
True. I love their hamburgers. Okay.
All right. So Mrs. Scott Lavino, the same thing.
I think the one thing that I would do first is go to or have a big family party and invite everybody over and just give everybody hugs and kisses. And then when we head back to school, give everybody some hugs or high fives, because this has been terrible, this distancing.
Sounds to me like you're a hugger.
Yeah.
It has been.
I want to shout out to Michael. Can you see this adorable card?
We see that.
Corona with the big line through it, yes. So you know what? We're all staying safe. We're all staying healthy, and we're going to get through this.
Some fabulous artwork on there, and I know you got I know you got a lot of great artwork today as those kids were passing by you. Okay, terrific. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
We love you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.